Someone said that bread is the tool through which I express myself. If so, I would like to know about your story through your bread. There are over 12,000 bakeries in Japan, which means there are over 12,000 stories. My story is about delivering Japan's bakeries and their craftsmanship through my videos. Day 1. The journey begins at Hinode Pan, located in Kunitomi Town, Higashi Morokata-gun, Miyazaki Prefecture. Owner, Yohei Mizobe. A baker who uses the traditional wood-fired oven he built himself and carefully selected organic wheat from Japan to make bread that's gentle on the body. His concept is to exclude anything unnecessary. Yohei's career began in sales at a food company. While working to sell safe products, a certain doubt started to trouble him.
人間に一番悪いって言われている添加物であったりとか、一次元量だけでこう国産って書いてあればいいからみたいなところが結構多くて、なんかそれってすごいおかしいなと思って、虫の混入がないようにって言ってるけど着色料は虫の体液を使ったものを使ったりとか、なんかそういうのを見てて本当に人間の体にいけないものっていうのを分かってもらいたいなっていうのもありつつ営業してたんですよ。
Around that time, he met Yoji Tamura, the owner of Boulangerie Dorine, and the man who popularized wood-fired oven bread in Japan. Yohei trained under Tamura and eventually opened Hinode Pan. Day 2.
発酵のタイミングと薪の温度をこうピタッと合わせるのがですね、だからその薪窯の難しさでもあり面白さでもあるんですけど、
Yohei is constantly in conversation with the dough and the wood fire. Did people in old Europe spend their days like him? In fact, wood-fired bread has only recently started to gain popularity in Japan. One of the reasons is the clear difference in aroma between bread baked in a wood-fired oven and that baked in an electric oven. You can notice the difference even when the bread is delivered, not just when you bought locally. Additionally, there are very few people in Japan who bake with a wood-fired oven, and this rarity seems to add to the value. In reality, when I thought about making wood-fired bread, the barriers to entry felt quite high. First, the location. Installing a wood-fired oven is difficult on ordinary land, so you inevitably have to set up shop far from towns or in rural areas. Next, the technique. Currently, mastering the skills and blueprints for wood-fired baking costs money and can only be learned in limited places. Lastly, the customers. Wood-fired bread tends to be hard and rustic due to its nature, which doesn't suit many elderly people living in rural areas. Considering these factors, Yohei's strategy is very interesting. By sharing the process of building the oven on social media before the shop even opened, he attracted new customers and ensured a smooth start. In addition to in-store sales, he also does pop-up sales at partner cafes, bringing in local customers. His target is clear. With the widespread use of social media, health-conscious customers find value in buying online, and they can clearly sense the difference when the bread they usually eat. Another appealing aspect is that, regardless of the customer's location, orders come in by reservation, which reduces waste and allows Yohei to control his working hours and supply.
こういう暮らしをしたいためにパンを作るみたいな、そういうイメージですね。
After the filming ended, he treated us to his favorite soul food, Family Ogura, the restaurant founded by the creator of chicken namban. Miyazaki's chicken namban is first coated with flour, then dipped in beaten egg before frying, and soaked in sweet vinegar for a while. The signature feature is the moist texture of the coating. Enjoy it with plenty of tartar sauce and cold beer. It's addictive. Afterwards, we took a plane to Wakayama Prefecture. The location for day 3 is Wakayama City, Wakayama-ura Nishi in Wakayama Prefecture. A famous tourist spot here is Kishu Toshogu Shrine. It enshrines Tokugawa Ieyasu, the first shogun of the Edo shogunate. Today, we are introducing NEIBO, which is just a minute's walk from Kishu Toshogu Shrine, and the Tabita family who live here. Their concept is to create a bakery model that's sustainable up to the age of 100. Usually, the bakeries we see around here are sustained at great financial and physical cost to their owners. Now, in their 13th year of business, they have struggled with the vicious cycle low profit margins and long working hours, along with food waste. Increasing ingredient cost, daily mental exhaustion, more frequent arguments between them, fading smiles, snide comments towards customers, leftover bread. The harder they worked, the worse things seemed to get. So they raised about 4 million yen through crowdfunding and completely revamped their business. By integrating their home and bakery and introducing a membership and reservation system, they reduced waste to zero. Moreover, by cutting down business days to just twice a week, they improved production efficiency and significantly reduced production cost and working hours.
そうですね。今までが全く丁寧な暮らしと真逆の暮らしをしていたので、娘が本当に今日からお店しますって言った時に、いっちゃんがニッてするからニッてしてねっていう合図を決めたんですよ。仏頂面をすぐ2人するんですけど、そのたびに娘がニッてしに来るので、そうだな、笑顔が大事だなと。
Why were they able to succeed so well from fundraising to transforming their business? Simply put, they wanted to be bakers for life. That's all. The harder they tried, the more things seemed to spiral out of control, an experience anyone might have at some point. When they were pushed to the limit, a message came out from the depth of their hearts. Who wouldn't be moved by that? So they openly shared their current situation and deteriorating family life, asking for help. And with that honesty, they succeeded in crowdfunding and reinvented their store. Where will their journey take them from here? Day 4, we headed to Makibunka. Here lives the Katayama family. At Makibunka, they are involved in maintaining and caring for the mountains, and also processing and selling the firewood that results from this work.
この仕事やっても20年になるんですけど、山から出てくる資源をどうやって活用しようかなっていうところから始めて、でそこからいろんなことやっていくうちに薪に出会って、で今度薪をお客さんに届けてずっとやっていくんですけど、なかなかやっぱりその輪が広がらなくて、今はこうやってね、今日旅田さんもお越しいただいてるんですけど、薪を皆さん求めていただいて、で僕がこの薪を皆さんに配ることでこの山と関わり今できてるんで、この山の今はを僕一人でやってるのをもっと広げていきたいなっていうのはありますね。
If the mountains aren't maintained, sunlight can't reach the ground, causing plant roots to weaken, which leads to soil depletion. When heavy rain or typhoons come under such conditions, the roots can't absorb the water, increasing the risk of landslides and other natural disasters.
自分の仕事で物を作ってそれを売ることだけが仕事ではない。お金に換えることだけじゃなくて、自 分たちの仕事が世の中やこれからの未来の中でどういう意味を持つか、片山さんとお会いして、自分たちのが薪でパンを焼いていろんな方に食べていただくことが山の保全につながるし、ひいては世の中の未来のためにつながるんだなっていうところに落とし込めた。
Day 5, I moved from Wakayama Prefecture to Aichi Prefecture, finished filming at Baguette Rabbit, and headed to the usual internet cafe to stay. Balancing travel and editing is tough, and sleeping in a chair takes perseverance. Day 6, we visited Tot Le Matin Boulangerie in Isha, Meito Ward, Nagoya City, Aichi Prefecture. The shop's name, Tot Le Matin, means early morning in French. Owner, Ayumi Taki. Her career started with setbacks. She aimed for an art university but failed the entrance exam 5 times. She couldn't keep up with what seemed easy for everyone else. Still, while she gave up on university, she never gave up on art. Expressing herself through bread awakened her dormant talents. The experiences from those setbacks made her even stronger. None of her staff have prior experience, but that's no issue for her.
でも逆にうちはだから未経験の人ばっかりで今ちょうどたまたまスタッフさんたちがそうなんですよ。でも1年やってたら仕込みもできるし熊もできるようになるんです。なんか自分もそれでやれるようになったっていうのがあるから、でもできなかった難しさも知ってるから、どうやってやればなんかこうできるようになるんだろうっていうのは多分伝えやすくて、無茶をさせなくて済む方法が分かるかなって自分が経験した分だけ、もちろん職人の仕事なんですけど、でも台所仕事の延長でもあるじゃないですか、こういうのってみんな努力するからできるようになるし。
She once had the goal of making a living from her paintings, but now the entire kitchen is her palette, and her work takes shape there. She taught me that even if it wasn't what you imagined, your perspective can transform your entire life.
美味しいパンって見た目もいいんですよね、やっぱり。見た目のためだけに作るんじゃなくて、美味しいから見た目もいいっていうところはちゃんと目指しているというか。
60 kinds of bread line up, one after another, on the marble shelves. And even her smile is a vital part of her creations. The world she envisions naturally comes through to the customers who come to buy her bread.
雰囲気も良くって、なんかその人柄がパンに出てるなっていう気がするんで、はい、大好きです。
She says, bakers start working before dawn, all for someone's happy morning. Day 7, Boulangerie Yanagawa in Midori Ward, Nagoya City, Aichi Prefecture. The overwhelming pressure. That was my first impression when I stepped into the kitchen of this bakery. He has won all the domestic bread contests. There's no one in the baking industry who doesn't know him. Japan's proud baker, Hisaya Yanagawa. When I negotiated the interview, he told me, "I don't make bread that follows fleeting trends." Despite my anticipation, I felt the pressure radiating from him as I began asking questions.
もう30時間以上起きてる。
His passion for bread already surpassed my understanding.
色とか形は意識してますね、やっぱり。で、パン屋ってどうしても、全部茶色になりがちなんですよ。どうしてものぺんとした感じに全体見渡すときに見えちゃうので、時折こう見回したときに差し色で緑だったり赤とかそういう差し色になるようなものを入れるような意識はしますね。1個の商品じゃなくて全体的に見渡したときにその丸であったり四角であったり色であったりとかそういうのを意識はするようにしてますね。 見て楽しく食べて美味しくっていう。
He doesn't imitate existing breads. He focuses on creating something entirely new. That's why chefs worldwide want to know how he makes his creations. Bread designed from scratch by him can only be found here, nowhere else in the world.
だからこう世に出回ってるものじゃなくて何か新しく自分から生み出したものを作りたいっていうのがあって。
However, there is still something he hasn't achieved. Mondial du Pan. In the Japan competition, he placed second in both the last and the one before that. He competed for the national representative spot with Keisuke Takahashi, who was previously featured on his show. The selection will be held this October. This is his last challenge. Day 8. After finishing the shoot at Bakery Picasso, I traveled from Aichi Prefecture to Shizuoka Prefecture and checked into my usual internet cafe. Day 9. For some reason, I found myself out at sea in Suruga Bay, one of Japan's 3 great deep bays. My skin felt like it was burning under the scorching summer sun. The target was deep-sea fish, caught using traditional hand-line fishing. We lowered the line down to 300 meters and let the boat circle around. The catch included shiromutsu, commonly known as omehata, and kuromutsu.
漁師がね、今少なくなっちゃってるからね、やっぱうちのそのガニュード地区を盛り上げたいなと思って、漁師になろうって思ったの。
In fact, there is only one person in the Ganyudo district who works as a full-time fisherman. Due to the aging population of fishermen and declining catches, there are many people who own boats, but fishing is mainly done as a side job or hobby. Day 10. Hinode Pan Bakery in Ganyudo Hamamachi, Numa City, Shizuoka Prefecture. Owner, Hanako Suzuki. Now, her bakery draws people from all over Japan seeking fish-based bread, and she is frequently featured in the media. But her journey to this point was full of challenges. Originally, her career started with the aim of becoming an actress. However, at 28, she retired without achieving success. After that, she decided to become a baker and enrolled in a specialized bread school. 10 years ago, she opened Hinode Pan, but it was difficult to attract customers to a rural bakery, leading to daily struggles. Although she was confident that once people tried her bread, they would find it delicious, but the new customers simply weren't coming.
お魚が本当に美味しいので、はい、つい毎日毎週というか週1ぐらいで作りますね。
So she shifted her focus to raising awareness. Back then, Instagram didn't exist, so she began participating in events and focused on her website and social media. In a time when marketing wasn't as important in the bakery industry, she was quick to recognize its significance. Her consistent efforts eventually transformed her bakery into one of the most well-known bakeries in Shizuoka.
の特技、料理が好きだし、酒が好きだから、そういうそっち系で強みを出していくしかないんだよね。
Day 11. After moving from Shizuoka Prefecture to Tokyo and finishing the shoot at Penny Lane, I headed to the usual internet cafe. The flat seat is a bit hard, so my back hurts. Day 12. Hinode Pan Tokyo, located Higashiyama, Meguro Ward, Tokyo. The person I met there was Executive Chef Shinji Tanaka. Meeting him was truly eye-opening. He has traveled to 8 countries in South America to provide technical guidance and is one of the main bakers leading Japan's bakery industry. He taught me one of the key methods for achieving success as a baker, and even more, as a businessman in Japan.
僕はそれがジノアルテの面接でヒデさんに言われたのが、やっぱり食塩ってなんで入れるのか分かるかいって言われて、基礎が勉強したいですって言って東京に出てきたのに、自分自身が基本って何かも基礎が何かも分からず基本を学びに来ましたみたいなこと言うんですよ。じゃあ基本的なっていうよりか基礎の基礎なんだけど、食塩ってなんで入れるのか分かるかいパンにとってって言われたら、味以外出てこなくてその時恥ずかしいなと。いや勉強不足だからこの本買ってしっかり勉強してきて答え聞かしてよっていうことで面接終わって、あもうこんな知識なかったらもう無理だろうなと思ったら取ってくれて拾われたようなもんで本当に。じゃあそれを考えたらもうそれしか質問しなかったんです。実際に聞いたんで原価計算のやり方とこの食塩とかで答え全部出るんで、あとはもう質問せずに全部答えが出せたらいいなと思って、自分で全部答え出そうと思って決めたからそうなんです。お客さん的には1本も2本もデュナルテみたいに先行ってたらわからないなってるところが近い存在で、ああそれは思ってもなかったっていうところが一番嬉しかったりするんで、だからそこを狙い込んでやるっていうふうにやってるんですよね。半歩先にテーマで。だからスタッフはもう難しいのが、それが落ちてる時に社長に怒られたりしてるんでしょっていう。落ちてなかったら会社のコンセプトもそうだし、厨房コンセプトも頭に入れながらの会話になったり、半歩先さえ頭に入ってたら社長を驚かすような話だと思うんで、向こうが気づいてない相場を知っとかないとダメなんで、コミュニケーション取ってないとそれできないんですよ。その喋った上で何を引き出してるか言ったら、嫌いなことをマスターして、で弟子なんで嫌いなことほどやらすっていう感じなんですだからそれができるようになった時にすごい力になってるっていうので、嫌いを読んでその子にそれをさせる、得意なことをやらすっていうのが今の時代なのに、嫌いなことをあえてさせるんです。でできるようになった時の喜びって好きとか楽しいとかのジャンルじゃなくて面白いに変わってるんですよね。できなかったことができるようになってる、危ない橋なんですけど、そこをやると僕らみたいに面白いジャンルに入っていけるから、これ嫌いなんだよなっていうことがこれ面白いかもに変わった瞬間やるようになってから強くなるんですよ。だから無理やりやらすっていうのが修行中の一番いいところで、シェフになったら絶対やらないんで、この子らに今しかやらせてあげれないんで、これ苦手なんだよなっていうものを持ってると、それを責められた瞬間急に気弱になったりする、自信がなくなったりするっていうのが不幸かなっていう。だから幸せって自信持ってることやと思うんで、自信つけてあげたいから、今自信なくていいっていうのを修行中に押し付けてるっていう感じです。嫌いなことやらないってなると、そういうふうに想像もしなくなっちゃうっていう、知ろうともしない。だから知っといたら考えることができる、想像ができるっていう状態なんで、すごく勉強になってコンセプトって大事だなと思って、一本ちゃんと守ってればむやみやたらに怒られることってないんだっていうのは初めて知って、会社のいいことしようと思っても社員でも難しいじゃないですか。いいことを自分なりのいいことになってるので、それとこれで社会で通用しないじゃないですか。やっぱりだから会社に沿ったいいことをしてればいいだけなんですけど、だから会社にとって悪いことしないのと一緒で、それって自分基準で何でも考えてないかって言われたら絶対そうなんですよ。怒られてる方ってこう一生懸命言っても、でもこれがコンセプトだと、これは世間で正しいけどおかしいよねっていう話したらみんな分かる。だから勉強するんならここの店でいいから一番目指して勉強するとか、スピードを求めるならシェフより速いみたいなのを求めて、シェフよりは速くなれないと思ってるんなら途中で絶対やらなくなるので、シェフより速くなって役に立てるようになりたいっていう気持ちがやっぱりそういうふうに勝手に練習もするようになるし、一番目指すってそれがいいじゃないですか。結局役に立つんで、僕らも役に立ちたいと思ってこの仕事始めてるから、結局役に立つってどういうことなのかなと思ったら、一番取ることなんですよね。とにかく一番を取るっていう。 だから2番3番でもいいじゃないかっていう考えないんですよ。1番じゃないと役に立たない。だから僕よりすごい重鎮の人たちの方がすごいのが分かってても、ここの1番を取らないと結局誰も話聞いてくれない。その人が出てきた時にはこの話も誰も聞いてくれないし。